What's going on, people? Jeff Brown coming to you live and direct from Harker Heights, Texas, with Jeff's Wild World Boxing. So, we had a chance to see the Mayweather fight last night. I'm pretty sure, like many of you. For those of y'all that ended up paying your $69.99 or $59.95, whatever the case was, feel sorry for you. But like I said, your boy went on ahead and updated that live stream mode, and I watched the fight for free right here, courtesy of Microsoft and so many others, and HP through the Packard. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how it goes down around here. That's right. I don't pay for my fights no more. I support live streaming. Same thing a lot of y'all should have did last night. So if you paid for this fight, I'm just going to say right now, sorry for you. You was a damn fool. Like I told you before this fight happened, that this fight was not worth $70 to pay for HD, $60 to pay for standard def. It just wasn't worth it. As we pretty much expected, Floyd dominated the fight. Guerrero, like I said before the fight, I do respect the guy and respect his causes and things of that nature. The things that he had to go through with his wife, unfortunately. But she's much better now. But the bottom line is, Floyd clearly dominated this fight. Ring rust, nowhere to be found. There's a possibility that he possibly, broke his hand. We're not sure on that yet. Haven't got the full updates on that, but we'll be sure to keep our ears to the ground and find out what's going to happen. But seems to be, as expected, a lot of talk about him fighting Canelo Alvarez. I made a prediction to all of you the other day, basically saying that I was of the opinion that fight was not going to happen. And I'm even more convinced now that that fight is not going to happen. According to a few of the videos I've heard so far this morning, according to T Street Controversy, he seems to be under the impression that Floyd's next fight could potentially be Amir Khan. I beg to differ on that, because the simple fact of the matter is Amir Khan doesn't belong in the ring with a top contender anywhere. I mean, the man's chin does not hold up. If that fight was to come off, it would be foolish to try and make people pay another $70 or whatever the case may end up being to see a fight between him and Amir Khan. It just doesn't make sense right now at this point. Plus the fact that Amir Khan has not looked well in his last 4 fights. So, I mean, suspect chin notwithstanding, it's not a fight that I would even, watch for free. I mean, you could probably put that bad boy on Showtime regular and just be done with it. But because it's Floyd, we already know it's going to be on pay-per-view. But like I said before, I just don't see that fight happening. Don't see the fight with Canelo happening in September at all. Apparently, there's a lot of, banging of the drums, so to speak, to get that fight going. But I just don't see it happening. There's a lot of different reasons. I mean, granted, you got to give credit where credit is due. Canelo did beat Austin Trout. There's no doubt about that. He showed boxing smarts and a lot of other things too. But at the same time, you have to be realistic. The fact of the matter is, it takes a whole lot more than just boxing smarts. You got to come, if you want to beat Floyd Mayweather, you got to come in with a very good game plan in mind. And this is the thing that you have to understand. Floyd does not watch tapes of any of his fighters. If I'm not sure if too many people know that, but when he prepares for his fights, he does not look at fight tapes of any of his opponents ever. He is able to get up in the ring and make the necessary adjustments. It normally takes him about a round or two to get adjusted. If you noticed last night, I actually had the fight a lot wider than what most people would. I actually had Floyd pitching the shutout just about. I gave Guerrero maybe, 1 round at the most, but I had Floyd damn near pitching the shutout. I mean, his timing was beautiful. The reflexes still seem to be there. He's still just as sharp as he was. I mean, let's just be real about it. That was the biggest issue going into this fight. How much ring rust does Floyd have? How much exactly does he have left? And I'm going to put it to you like this, y'all. It's, bottom line, it's like this. Let's just put it out here right now. Miguel Cotto is a good, solid, technical fighter that has just as much ring smarts as the next guy. And the bottom line is, when you put a Miguel Cotto and a Floyd Mayweather together, both are technically proficient in everything that they do. They're precise and they don't waste a lot of punches. So what we got was a hardcore fight, but at the same time, it was a technical fight. And as a boxing fan, if you're a true boxing fan, you really had to appreciate the subtle every last little detail and subtlety of that fight. I've gone back to watch that fight numerous times before this fight last night, and you know, bottom line, Cotto is just a good, solid technical fighter, and you know, it's just pretty much apparent that had this fight come off a little bit sooner than when it did, we probably would have got a better matchup out of it. But at the same time, that's not taking anything away from Robert Guerrero once again. He is a good, solid champion. But the bottom line, as Lennox Lewis used to say, you ain't never seen nothing like this. So bottom line was, you got up in there, you talked a good game, and your pop seemed to have a lot to say too, and still had a lot to say even after the press conference about, oh, he ran all night. You show me a clip where Floyd ran from this man, and I'll show you a motherfucker that's a liar right about now, because I bet seriously did not see Floyd back up in this fight. He went ahead and took it to him. At certain points in the fight, it looked like he was walking Guerrero down. Floyd did what he had to do in this fight, and he did what everybody expected he should do, and that's whoop a good, solid fighter. Now, a lot of you are going to sit there and make the argument, well, this is just another notch in his belt and another guy that's coming up from a lower weight class. Hey, people, the man asked for the fight. Bottom line. So, for those of you that feel that way, you need to go ahead and get over that bull crap, because the bottom line is, Floyd is going to take on whoever wants to fight him. The man said it himself last night. Fighting Floyd Mayweather is like winning the lottery nowadays. Everybody wants to fight Floyd Mayweather. It don't matter what the weight class is. You got heavyweights talking about they want to move down the weight. I'm lying about that, but I'm just saying. You know, everybody wants to fight Floyd right now. He's the biggest money maker in boxing, and you know that's just what it is. So the criticism about him fighting guys in lower weight class and everything, that crap needs to stop, for the simple fact that, you know, the man fights who they put in front of him. If you issue out the challenge, and let's look at the facts here now, because everybody knows I'm all about the facts, and I've always been about the facts since I've been doing this thing right here on the YTBC. So I'm just going to put it to you simply like this. Let's look at the facts for a second. Juan Manuel Marquez, a few years back, called out Floyd Mayweather after he beat Juan Diaz the second time. And he got that fight. And we criticized Floyd for dominating a pure boxer who later on ended up knocking the shit out of Manny Pacquiao. But we ridiculed Floyd to say, well, he came from a lower weight class. When Ricky Hatton beat Kasazu, he kept calling out Floyd, and eventually they ended up fighting. And then you want to knock Floyd again. Well, Ricky Hatton didn't have the right style. It was tailor-made for him. And it's just funny to me how, you know, we don't want to give this man his just due. It's almost like there are certain boxers that are on the pound list right now that are not getting their just due. You know, we ridicule the fighters that we should be supporting. You know, the Andre Wards, your Floyd Mayweathers, your Nonito Donaires, your Manny Pacquiao. Everybody seems to have an opinion, and that's the bottom line. Everybody's going to have an opinion about these top-notch fighters. There's going to be criticism. It's no different than the criticism that Ali used to face, Sugar Ray Leonard, and so many other fighters over the years. It's no different. Everybody's always going to have an opinion about the shit. But the bottom line is this. You cannot knock 44-0. In this day and age of boxing, do you know how hard it is to maintain an undefeated record, especially for this long as Floyd has been doing it? As far as I'm concerned, Floyd has nothing else to prove at this point. He's already done it, as far as I'm concerned. And for those of y'all that don't believe that, you show me a fight right now that a fighter that he has not fought up to this point, besides the ones that we want to see him fight. Okay? The Pacquiao fight notwithstanding, because let's just be real about it. That fight was never going to happen. I mean, we had all, you know, and if you want to find out who you really need to blame for that situation, don't blame Floyd. Don't blame Pacquiao. Don't blame Top Rank. Don't blame Golden Boy. Everybody's responsible for that shit. And I say it like that because when the media drums were beaten over and over again to get this fight going, okay? And this is what you have to realize. This is where the rift between Top Rank and Golden Boy really began. It began with the Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao fight getting put together. That's where all this shit begins. Now, it came to a head at the point that Pacquiao jumped ship and fought that one Showtime fight, that junk fight with Mosley, that, you know, obviously Mosley didn't have no business being in the ring with the guy at the time. But bottom line is, you know, it It happened, and that caused even more rift. And though it was that one single incident, and the fact that they could not get this fight to take place over and over again, that led to what we see now. Golden Boy being with Showtime, Top Rank being with HBO. More or less, it seems like Top Rank has just about went home, back to where they began. And, you know, I must say, I was impressed by the Showtime broadcast last night. I'll get back to that in a whole minute. But I said all that to say that it doesn't matter who Floyd fights from here on out. There's always going to be some type of ridicule about this man. There's always going to be something that's going to have to be said. But that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is you cannot argue 44-0. You want further facts on that? If you truly out there in the YTBC community, and any of those fanboys or whatever we're calling these guys these days, you know, because I'm not going to put no names to them. You know, they're fans just as much as I am. But, you know, I'm not going to ridicule nobody. If you're a boxing fan, you're a boxing fan. I don't care if you're a fan of Floyd Mayweather or Klitschko or, you know, even some bum from, you know, bumfuck Egypt. You know, it doesn't matter. A boxing fan is a boxing fan. And a true boxing fan that knows anything about boxing history, that knows boxing knowledge, knows a good fighter when he sees one. And if you don't believe that, you know, like I said, you can't argue with 44-0. Now, there haven't been too many fighters over the years that have been able to maintain a good record like that. Joe Calzaghe, I still don't give him his just due for one reason and one reason only. I kind of disrespect that man. He's one of the few that I actually disrespect for the simple fact that I feel like you could have taken on Roy Jones a little bit sooner than what you did. You waited until he got very old to fight him. You could have fought him years ago. You could have moved up to light heavyweight, fought Hopkins years ago, but the fight didn't happen. When those fights did happen, they didn't end up being as good as promised, and you know that's what we ended up getting. And then plus on top of that, the man retired right at the point that the super middleweight division was on the precipice of being better than what it is right now, and probably ends up being one of the best divisions in boxing as we speak. Very competitive, and it's just funny to me that you went on ahead and retired right before this happened. You know, I've always thought that was kind of ironic. And then not only that, you had a slew of contenders come out of that weight division and then end up fighting this Super 6 middleweight tournament that went on for about 2 years. But when the smoke was all clear, we had 3 top contenders out of that, and one of them was definitely legit enough to say that he is one of the best in boxing, and that's Andre Ward. So, you know, he still didn't budge. He wouldn't come out of retirement. If you truly as good as you say that you are, the fact that you fought all these bums up in Europe means nothing. Now, granted, he fought Kessler, but Kessler was not as good as he was now at the time. And those are the guys that I give props. The guys that have what I call true longevity. You stay in long enough, you know what I'm saying? That's why you got to respect your Bernard Hopkins, your Floyd Mayweathers, and things of that nature, because these guys have longevity. And the adage is the same in boxing as it is in football. Defense wins championships, bottom line. And if you don't believe me, let's think back to your boxing history for a whole minute. Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was the first black heavyweight champion. We all know that. But here's something that a lot of you probably don't know about Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson, long after he had gotten out of jail and long after he had his title, in my mind, unjustly taken from him in a junk fight with Jess Willard, continued to fight on into his 50s as well. And you can attribute that to his great technical skills, but also his great defensive skills. And in the annals of boxing history, there have been many fighters that were known for being defensive. And I'm not talking about reflexively defensive. When I say defense, I mean they're proficient in how they work their defense, the covering up, shoulder rolls, the whole nine. And that to me extends careers. The first thing to go on a fighter, if he's known for speed, is going to be his speed. His reflexes are going to slow down just a little bit. But if that fighter, if he's good enough, if he has a good trainer, if he had good training over the years, has proven that he will be a very long in the tooth fighter as far as boxing knowledge is concerned. That's why Bernard Hopkins is able to still go out here and whoop these young boys' asses, and that's what makes Floyd as good as he was last night and not able to have any ring rust. Because let's just be real about it. Floyd trains damn near 24/7, y'all. The man is never out of shape. When is the last time you saw Floyd Mayweather come into a fight out of shape? When is the last time you ever saw Floyd Mayweather on the street in between fights, taking a year off or 2 years or however long it is that he decides? Hell, he could take 10 years off right now and still come into that fight 10 years later and be in shape. You don't believe me? Mark my words. He'll probably end up doing it. We could probably end up seeing him pull another Bernard Hopkins off. Who knows? But all I know is this. Defense wins championships. The adage works in football just as well as boxing. Defense wins championships, people. Now, if you're a full-on defensive fighter that, really ain't got no pop, that's okay too. Those, your defense should do enough to carry you over, and you might be able to box to a fight. But for those of y'all who are inspired boxers by what you saw last night, and you're out there training real hard in the amateurs and trying to work your way up to a pro level, keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? Working a little bit of punching power with that defense, and it can take you pretty far, guaranteed. And you can have a pretty long career if you learn the art of defense. And I respect those fighters that have that art of defense. And just keep in mind it ain't all reflexes. But let's talk a little bit about some of the undercard fights that happened last night as well on that pay-per-view card. J. Leon Love versus Gabriel Rosado ended up being a pretty decent fight. I actually expected Rosado to still be kind of busted up because I thought it was a little bit too soon for him to be coming back. It wasn't that long ago, back in January, and I actually had to go look that crap up. I'm like, damn, he's fighting Rosado. I thought, this cat just fought less than, a few months ago. It's only been a few months. Went to look it up. It had been January that I took that ass from Golovkin. But be that as it may, you really have to give J. Leon Love props. I actually had that fight a lot closer than what the judges had it. I had that fight a draw, believe it or not. I thought that, Love did enough to win the fight, but this is definitely a fight that I would like to see again because, it was just time for that cat to be tested. He had, his last couple of fights that I had seen, he wasn't as impressive as he should have been, but last night we saw the promise that he showed very early on in his career, and I think that he'll be a very viable contender. But one thing that we did see for the first time was him hit the canvas, and it more or less woke him up. It was a flash knockdown and a balance shot, but at the same time it woke him up a little bit. And from there the fight turned into a little bit of a brawl, and they were mixing it in and they were doing their thing. But I felt like Rosado did enough to possibly pull out the fight. But the last two rounds, rounds 9 and 10, is I think where you probably could have argued that J. Leon Love did just enough. Rosado seems to be of the belief that he felt like he should have won the fight. J. Leon Love feels the same way. But the two got together at the end and said that they would like to do it again. So I would like to see that fight again. I don't care if you make it an undercard fight. Hell, put that shit on Showbox or something, man. Showtime Championship Box or something. But that's a fight that I would like to see again because that was one of the few fights that I was actually looking forward to on the card that I expected to end up being better than what it was. A lot of people weren't clamoring for this fight, but it was a nice step up for J. Leon Love, and it was time, and it was just time for him to step up and do his thing. And it was nice to see him get tested, and got to give mad props to Floyd for putting his boy in tough last night. That was a good thing. Leo Santa Cruz fought Alexander Munoz, and for those of y'all that know anything about Munoz, he was a fairly good champion in a lot of lower weight classes, probably about a good 10 years ago. He's been kind of up and down in the last 3 or 4 years, but he tried to put up a good fight, but once again, the overwhelming punches of Leo Santa Cruz were able to get the job done, and he ended up taking him out in round 5 in a fight that I really felt like probably should have been stopped a lot sooner than round 5. And yeah, y'all see the boy in the background. Get your chores done. Get your chores done. You can go ahead and do that. But anyway, yeah, I really felt like Santa Cruz once again is showing a lot of promise. He's moved up to a new weight class, so it seems like he's chasing right now just a little bit. but you do have some good contenders in his weight class. You have Rigondeaux, you know, that he looks like he's trying to go after. It looks like he's chasing after Abner Mares, but it's real tough to say what a fighter of Santa Cruz's caliber is going to do, because he's a volume puncher. He's not the type of guy that you would expect to just go in and knock guys out like real easily with one shot. He's a volume puncher. He throws a lot of punches. I mean, the man has set records as far as his weight class is concerned with just throwing punches alone. And he just overwhelms you with his work rate. And, you know, the guy fights so often. You know, if you think about it, everybody gave Nonito Donaire props last year for fighting as many times as he did. Nonito Donaire fought 4 times last year. Santa Cruz fought damn near 6. He would have had his 6th fight, but he ended up pulling the plug on one of them. But the guy fights more often than a lot of cats out there in boxing today. And, you know, I haven't seen a guy that fought this often in a long, long time. It's been some years. You got to go back pretty far to see cats that fight this often. But once again, very impressed with his performance. Very impressed with, you know, the promise that he's showing. And he's going to be tough to beat for a long, long time. But I do gather to say that put him in there with the right opponent, 9 times out of 10, he will get beat. So it's more like a wait and see approach, and we're going to be able to hopefully get some more good matches out of that. But it all depends on what Golden Boy decides to do. Like I said, there are some good opponents out there for him to fight, but you have to question the competition just a little bit, because you have some guys that were there in this weight class. We could potentially see, you know, a fight with him and Vic D'Artagnan. That could be in the cards. D'Artagnan's moved up in weight a couple of times and is still out there actively fighting. So we'll see. It's real tough to say right now, but we'll see. You know, I'd like to see him try to fight, you know, Rigondeaux. That looks like it could potentially be a good fight, but time will tell. Ponce de Leon, Abner Mares. I really don't know what to say about this fight. It was a good fight, don't get me wrong, but once again, Abner Mares showed the world once again why he's definitely for real. I made the statement to a couple of cats that I know that I talk about boxing with outside of the YTBC community as often as I do, and you know, we talked about Abner Mares and a potential fight. You know, what would have happened had he fought Nonito Donaire if that fight would have come off. And I have to admit, after what I saw last night, what he did to Ponce de Leon was impressive. You got to give credit where credit is due. What he did to Ponce de Leon was impressive. The fact that, you know, he did have experience with sparring with him numerous times, I mean, I guess that did make a difference. But sparring is not fighting. We all know that. And, you know, he was impressive last night. He beat Ponce de Leon to the punch numerous times. He knocked him down twice. Now, as far as the stoppage went, I'm pretty sure I'm part of the majority on this when I say this, but Jay Nady probably shouldn't have stopped that fight. Last time I checked, any referee that has any common sense about himself that knows that you see a guy, yeah, he's getting hit with some good shots, but he's clear, he's focused, he's looking right at the guy, and most of all, he's punching back. So last time I checked, a referee normally doesn't stop a fight, but Jay Nady isn't your regular everyday referee, and that's what we got to realize. So yeah, the fight was stopped a little bit prematurely in my book, and you know, I mean, the guy probably would have got beaten anyway, but I'm from the old school, and in the old school it's a championship fight. You don't stop the fight like that. You know what I'm saying? Let that man hit that damn canvas with his ass first before you decide to stop the fight. I mean, he was going to get beat. There's no doubt about it. But the fight got stopped a little bit too soon. Give the man a chance to fight back and defend his title, because that's what a champion is supposed to do. Defend his title to the fullest. And, you know, if you're going to stop the fight, you should have stopped it when his ass hit the floor. And his ass never had the opportunity. Yeah, the ropes were holding him up a little bit, but I'm sorry. The guy was focused. He was punching back. And like I said, it went the way it went. Adnan Mars wins. He wins another title in a new weight class. But here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Adnan Mars is going to have a tough time in the featherweight division. And this is where I get back into the whole Showtime, Top Rank, HBO, Golden Boy rift that's going on. And this is where I start to get a little bit perturbed about the situation, because the fact of the matter is this. We had the potential for an Adnan Mars and Nonito Donaire fight. But let's think about this for a second. Right now, who is the overall featherweight champion according to the Ring magazine? Mikey Garcia, right? Right? Okay. Last time I checked, Mikey Garcia is a top-ranked fighter. So, it's going to be real tough to get a fight with Juan Manuel Lopez, Mikey Garcia, basically the top dogs of the featherweight division that it's clear that he deserves to be in the ring with. And it's just disturbing to me that this problem is happening. And we've seen this before. We've seen this before for years. It's no different than what it was back in the 80s, back in Tyson's day and Holyfield's day, where they were trying to put the fight together. It was, well, it's not the fighters. The fighters want to fight. It's the promoters. And then when the excuse wasn't the promoters, it was the networks. And then we had to wait until 1996 to see a Holyfield and Tyson fight. I say it like this. HBO, you need to get your ass up off your shoulders. Because Showtime has got you beat right now. I've been loyal to HBO Sports for years. I've been watching that stuff forever and a day. I've grown old with these guys. And I'm not even old. I just turned 33 recently. But, I feel like I'm getting old because I've been watching these cats who were old men when they started out. I mean, I'll put it to you like this. I've been watching HBO Sports since Larry Merchant had his original gray hair. He's got a full head of white hair now. I remember when Larry Merchant had gray hair with just a little bit of black in it. That's how long I've been watching HBO boxing. I remember when Jim Lampley was still on ABC before he came to HBO. So, I was loyal to these cats, man. And don't get me wrong, I watch Showtime boxing every now and then too. But the quality of fights is just a little bit different because at the time it was mainly Don King fighters that were fighting on that. Yeah, I know y'all hear that phone up in the background. I ain't answer. That's probably a damn bill collector. I ain't got no damn money. You know what I'm saying? I'm broke. But anyway, yeah. Bottom line is, we saw it come together one time, where Showtime and HBO came together one time, and that was for the Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson fight in 2002. And I just don't understand why we can't see something like that again. There are, right now, if you think about it, most of the top fighters in these lower weight classes, outside of, let's say, light heavy, light heavy and up, there's really not that much of a problem between the whole Golden Boy and Top Rank thing kind of comes to a screeching halt. And you could almost argue all the way down to the super middleweights because, they're kind of up and down. So from middleweight on down, you've got potential fights that could get made, but we might not see them because they're either a Golden Boy fighter or a Top Rank fighter. So we're caught up in this catch-22 dilemma that there is a potential for great fights. And Adnan Mars is going to have a tough time in the featherweight division because most of the top contenders in the featherweight division are top-ranked fighters. So it's going to be real tough to find opponents for him that are going to be considered legitimate enough to say that, hey, you deserve a shot at this guy or that guy. I would almost gather say if something can't get done here real soon, we'll see Adnan Mars moving up to another weight class, potentially junior lightweight, and settling there for a home run because he has a better chance. Now the competition pool ain't as good there, but you do have the potential to make some pretty decent fights. Now you still got Yuriorkis Gamboa running around. He's dealing with, he's practically a free agent. He's not tied to either one of these promotional companies. He's tied to 50 Cent, and this is where 50 Cent can make himself some money. And let Yuriorkis go ahead and move down and fight Adnan Mars. If you want to make sure he puts himself out there and puts himself in line to get a good fight, let him move on back down to featherweight. Fight Adnan Mars, man. You take that fight. He's looking for somebody to fight because he's not gonna have nobody to fight. Put that junk on Showtime. Do whatever you got to do. But we need to get Abner Mares an opponent, because I can tell you right now, the talent pool in featherweight is not as good as it should be right now. As far as what's below the top contenders that aren't top ranked fighters, it's really not that good, and it would be a real shame to see this man get downplayed and ridiculed for the wrong stuff. But at the same time, like I said, it's not just happening to him. It's gonna happen to a lot of different guys. This Golden Boy top rank crap is hurting boxing right about now, because you know most of your top contenders fight for either one of those promotional companies, and you know it's clear that they're clearly the best in the business and they do their jobs very well on both sides. So y'all need to stop all that fighting. Y'all need to come together, and we in the YTBC community, the boxing fans, everybody in the boxing magazines, everybody need to start speaking your voice, putting yourself out there. Let Top Rank know. Let Golden Boy know. De La Hoya, whoever you find. For those of y'all that go to the fights up in Las Vegas, that are up in the fight scene, you know what I'm saying, leave it in the ring. All you guys out there that are a part of this thing, if you want to, you know what I'm saying, show your strength. This is the time for us to show our strength. We need to get out there, and we need to let these cats know that, hey, you know, all this fighting back and forth, it shouldn't even matter. It shouldn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? We want to see these fights. If you say you're about the fans, be about the fans then. Put the fights on that the fans want to see. We want to see Abner Mares fight Mikey Garcia. We want to see Abner Mares fight, you know, Yoriokis Gamboa or whoever. You know what I'm saying? We want to see Adrian Broner fight, you know what I'm saying, Floyd Mayweather potentially. Oops, did I say that? Did I say that? Nah, I don't think that's going to happen. Could it happen? Could it happen? I don't know. I don't know. Me and my homeboy were talking about that last night, and I just don't feel like that fight will ever happen because they're supposed to be cool right now. But friendships can be broken long enough, because if there's money to be made, you know Floyd is all about that. That's why they call him money. But anyway, before I end this thing today, I have a major announcement, something that I've been kind of holding back. For those of y'all who don't know, you know, I got mad respect for huge controversy in blood boxing. Many months ago, I put out a video, and they had a little bit of a beef going on, and pretty much it became apparent that the debate was more or less about who gets more views, and you know, in my opinion, just on some stupid shit. And it kind of upset me a little bit that we come to this point where, you know, at a time when there was not much to talk about in boxing, we were debating each other, but for the wrong reasons. This is the YTBC, the YouTube boxing community, where we talk boxing. We don't talk beef. You know what I'm saying? We don't talk. We shouldn't be talking about beefing with each other over boxing knowledge. What we should be doing, and what I would like to do, and what I would like to present to many of you, and I extend this challenge out to anybody. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've already talked with Blood Boxing. He's in full agreement that we're going to do this. It's going to be unprecedented. I'm looking to make YouTube boxing community history right now. I'm going to go ahead and put this announcement out there. And like I said, I extend this challenge out to anybody. But what I'm proposing is the greatest boxing debate of all time. A friendly debate, no shit talking amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? I don't, you know, it ain't no need for all that. But if it has to be said, at least, you know what I'm saying, call somebody a dumbass because they don't know they shit. But when I'm talking about a boxing knowledge, I'm talking about the end all be all. Test your knowledge. Test yourself against me. You know what I'm saying? Especially because, you know, yeah, I don't do this for the views, as you can see. You can look up my YouTube channel, subscribe to my channel, whatever. I appreciate the support. Just the fact that people are watching my stuff satisfies me enough. Whether I have 1 view or 50 million views, it does not matter to me. I don't do this for the fame. I do this because I love boxing, and it's a sport that I've loved since I was a little boy. So, you know, I'm not looking to do this for fanfare or money or to put myself out there in the YTBC. I've done that already. You know, I've been in and out here lately, but I had the respect of those in the YTBC community enough to say that what I say can pretty much stick and know that my shit is legit. You know, I had the respect of a lot of the subscribers that's a part of this are major contributors to the YTBC. You know, I've been on a couple of their radio shows, their internet radio shows, that is. But, you know, I'm very well respected. So don't get it twisted. Even though my videos don't look all extravagant and everything like that, I don't have the music and the special effects and all that shit. I don't do that. What I do though is I come on here to you live and direct, and I put the knowledge out there with no papers behind me. I don't need no magazines to back me up. All I have is this right here, and it is full of boxing knowledge. I can take you back to the bare knuckle days on these bad boys. And what I'm proposing is more or less a test your boxing knowledge against the best of the best, and not so much a tournament, but just a friendly debate. Fact for fact, video for video, knowledge for knowledge is what I'm calling this thing here. And I extended the challenge out to Blood Boxing. He has pretty much said that he's willing to do it, but there's another fella out there in particular that he has some beef with, and one that I also respect, and I told him as much, and that's neither here nor there, but there is respect there. T Street Controversy, I want to see you on here too, dude. You know what I'm saying? I want to test your knowledge as well. There's a lot of ridicule going on right now, possibly about you just being a dude that's all about the views and whatnot, but basically, you seem like a pretty straightforward dude when you ain't drunk or whatever. But yeah, I'm extending this challenge out to you. I watched your video this morning. I've already sent out a little message to you on the video extending out that challenge. But yes, like I said, I extend this challenge out to anybody. This is going to be, I guess you call it a test your boxing knowledge against the best of the YTBC. I'm going to be involved with it. Like I said, I'm just trying to put this together. And, send your posts, your messages, your comments. If you want to be a part of this thing, let's get this thing on. I'm looking to do this thing, so I'm going to be doing some traveling here within the next month. But sometime in June is when I'm looking for this thing to begin. And, I'll continue to beat the drums about this right here and continue to ask for this debate. But yeah, like I said, I've got Blood Boxing on board with this thing. So, what I'm saying? Yeah, I would hope that, those that do watch my videos, Mr. Universal Sports, the boxing historian, the boxing voice, man, come on, we need to see you again one more time, dog. What I'm saying? It's been a whole minute. I ain't heard from you. Anybody from leaving in the ring, you're all welcome. You're all welcome. This is, like I said, fact for fact, video for video. We're going to talk about some of everything. But the most important debate of all that I think is going to catch a lot of attention is the ultimate pound for pound list. Who are your 10 greatest fighters of all time? And then that's where I want to start the debate off first and foremost. And, just to test it out, to see if anybody's actually going to do it. I would hope that you would join us in doing that. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's make YTBC history. Let's get this shit done. And I'd like to hear from a lot of you. Go ahead and send your comments about that. If you agree to it, great. Just, whenever you're ready, just post a video, send it to me. I'll respond to it, and we'll debate. Like I said, I ain't going to talk shit to you. I ain't got time for all that. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time to be sitting up here reading racist-ass comments either. So for those of you who are out there that do that, you know this ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? This is about those that had their facts and their shit together. Mr. Natty Turner, I want to see you out there too, fella. You need to come on. You need to come on with it, because you've been biting my shit for years. I respect you, but you need to stop biting my shit. When I had a kid when I put my children up on the YouTube thing, you had to put your kids up on there. You know what I'm saying? You even went as far as to try and copy the way that I talk in my style just a little bit. But he did do better than me in the special effects category, so he's got me beat there. But when it comes down to so-called boxing knowledge, I don't feel like you got it. You call yourself the Black Burt Sugar. And that bothers me a little bit. But you ain't been on here in the whole minute talk about anything having to do with boxing. So, you know what I'm saying? Bring yourself back on. Bring yourself back on. I'd like to see you too. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, anybody out there, Carcino, come on back to the fold, man. Let's talk some more boxing, dog. I ain't forgot about you, man. Come on. Come on back. Come on back home to the YTBC. I'm trying to bring everybody back together, man. We need to stop all this beefing and shit. This is Jeff Brown, and I'm out.